Welcome to 10-Minute IELTS, where I'll be giving you strategies in 10 minutes. Today, we'll be tackling grammar, specifically sentence structures. This is a common problem for students who don't know what to or how to write in the IELTS writing exam, which requires 250 words. Remember that everything starts with the basics, and the basic of basics is the simple sentence, which is simply a subject and predicate. The subject can be a noun, pronoun, or anything that will serve as the topic of a sentence. In this case, we'll use my parents. Now remember, the question is, do you prefer to study abroad or in your home country? Now, say your parents want you to study abroad. In that case, just start with the subject, my parents, and then continue with the predicate, want me to study abroad. That's not too difficult, but it is correct and appropriate. So long as all your sentences in IELTS are correct, there is no reason you shouldn't get 7.0. The only reason they will give penalties is because of grammatical errors. Let's look at another sample simple sentence and use the subject I instead. The predicate could be prefer studying in my home country. So let's read that out loud. My parents want me to study abroad. I prefer studying in my home country. Those are two simple sentences. There are no grammatical errors. Therefore, there should be no penalty in the exam. But I do believe this is going to make it difficult for anyone to reach 250 words. But don't worry, once the basics are there, you'll find that the next type of sentence, which is complex, only requires you to add another predicate. So let's focus on these two simple sentences and try to make them longer by adding another predicate on top of the original sentence. Instead of my parents want me to study abroad, period, let's use a conjunction such as because, and then add a second predicate, such as because of better opportunities. So my parents want me to study abroad because of better opportunities. That is already a complex sentence. It wasn't too difficult so long as you started with the basics again. Let's see if we can do the same for the second sentence. I prefer studying in my home. And then instead of because, let's just use the conjunction which is, and then the predicate will be the Philippines. Remember, there are all sorts of conjunctions. Conjunctions could be because, such as, which is, specifically, etc., etc. What it does is it connects another predicate to describe the predicate before it. So, my home is the Philippines, described and connected by which, whereas want me to study abroad is explained with the conjunction because and then predicate better opportunities. Don't get lost in the words so much. What's important is that we always have the basic structure. Even if we move on to the next type of sentence, which is compound, all it means to say is on top of your basic sentence, you will add another subject and predicate. Let's try that here. Instead of just going straight to another predicate, let's add a subject with an additional predicate. In that case, when we look at these two simple sentences, my parents want me to study abroad could be combined with I prefer studying in my home. All we have to do is now use another type of conjunction and combine it with the previous sentence so that it reads, my parents want me to study abroad and I prefer studying in my home. That is already technically a compound sentence. But the problem is we're not using the appropriate conjunction. Now take note, while subordinating conjunctions combine predicates, The coordinating conjunction is used to combine full sentences, and there are only two main types, and or but. And is used when we are combining ideas that are alike, whereas but is used when we are using or combining ideas that are the opposite of each other. My parents want me to study abroad. I prefer studying in my home. These are opposites. Therefore, but is better used here. Now let's read. My parents want me to study abroad, but I prefer studying in my home. Now we have a compound sentence, and it wasn't difficult to do because we had two simple sentences already. I just removed the period and added a conjunction between them. Now let's move on to the most complicated type of sentence, called compound complex. The truth is, so long as you have the basics, it's easy to move on to the next type of sentence by just adding another subject or another predicate. In this case, for compound complex, we will add another predicate on top of the two basic sentences. So that means we'll use another conjunction here and then add one last predicate at the end. We could say, my parents want me to study abroad, but I prefer studying at my home, and then use the subordinating conjunction which is, and then the predicate will be the Philippines. That is our compound complex sentence. Let's read that out loud. My parents want me to study abroad, but I prefer studying in my home, which is the Philippines. And that will give you your compound complex sentence already. Most students make the mistake of adding too many predicates in the same sentence. Take note, if you have more than 3 predicates in any sentence, that is now what we call a run-on sentence, which is a penalty in grammar. If you have one run-on sentence, your score will already go down to 6.0 or maybe even 5.0 because you are not using the proper sentence structures. So again, it's not about length, it's about accuracy of your structure. Now let's review how we can use this format in answering this question, do you prefer to study abroad or in your home? I'll just say, my parents want me to study abroad. That is my one simple sentence. Another one could be, I prefer studying in my home country. For the reasons, I could say, my parents want me to study abroad, and then I'll make it complex by adding the conjunction because and the predicate better opportunities. Let's do the same for the other sentence. So my parents want, good thing MS Word is there to help me. I prefer studying in my home country, which is the Philippines. Now that I have two complex sentences, let's make this compound by taking out the period and using the conjunction but. So that we have this compound sentence, my parents want me to study abroad, but I prefer studying in my home. And then summarize these two complex sentences in the conclusion for a compound complex sentence by saying, my parents want me to study abroad because of better opportunities, but I prefer studying in my home country. And there you have it. That is one compound sentence followed by two complex sentences, finished off by a compound complex sentence. This is how we were meant to write in the IELTS exam, but this is not done intentionally. This is just something that we should naturally do to show a variety of sentence structures. Remember, it begins with the basic sentence and then is elaborated by a conjunction, which can again be combined by other ideas with one more extra conjunction. Those are my 10 minutes. I hope this has made it clear that you don't always need to use long sentence structures. You can start off with something simple and then later make it a bit more complex or compound, because the idea is to have a proper sentence before explaining it. Well, those are my 10 minutes. I hope this has been useful. Remember to click on the link in the description for online coaching requirements. You can also email me at 10minuteielts@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comment below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your time and good luck with your review.